All right, let's move on. Let's finish up talking about some injuries here. The Pittsburgh Steelers could get two starters to their defense back. Minkah Fitzpatrick and Montravius Adams finally have the light on to return. Damontae KZ said after the Bengals game, when talking about the safety rotation and where he's playing, he said, we all know Minkah's coming back this week anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Everybody's like, what? Well, nobody else knew. I don't even think Mike Tomlin knew. I don't think Minkah Fitzpatrick knew that he was coming back this weekend. That being said, they are locker mates. I'm sure that they have plenty of conversations. I'm sure that they know Damontae KZ knows 100 times more than any of us know. That being, with that, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Montravius Adams, both coming back. How big of a boost is this to get Minkah back? And at the same time, you found something in Trenton Thompson, I believe. Is he still part of this defense moving forward? Is he still part of the rotation? Can you use him in 3 safety sets? Or do you just go back to what you know with 2 starters in Minkah and Damontae?
Yeah, well, obviously, huge. Like, Minkah Fitzpatrick is a bona fide superstar in this league. Like,
yes,
he's a great communicator. There's no question that this is going to be a huge lift. And I think in that same vein, it's kind of not a great deal for Trent Thompson. I think you're right. I think they did find a little bit of something with him there, but just who are you taking off the field for Trent Thompson? Like,
yeah.
It's not easy. Even with Damontae KZ, I feel like the gap there is still pretty big. Sure, they can use him in some 3 safety sets. Like, I'm sure that's possible, but ideally you're going to have Minkah Fitzpatrick and Damontae KZ out there. Those are your 2 best safeties. So this doesn't spell good things for Trenton Thompson, but I think you're still better for it. The idea that he got some starting experience, that he got some snaps in there and played really well in those snaps and in a tough environment and everything like that. Is really encouraging. And it's injuries happen, you still are going to rotate guys a little bit. So to know that you have someone competent back there who won't allow you to miss a beat is really, really nice and really, really encouraging, especially considering, we haven't talked about the secondary really at all. It feels like since before the bye week, quite honestly. They've really tightened up, and for Thompson to step in there and to allow that unit not to miss a beat at all was really, really impressive. So good stuff for him. It's just unfortunate that, it's Minkah Fitzpatrick in front of him. That's the guy's spot he was taking. It's not going to be an easy one to take back when Minkah's healthy.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I agree. You'll see a little bit of Trenton Thompson. I think you'll see your fair share of them because, 2 things here. Like, you're not going to want to take Minkah off the field, but he also has missed the last 4 games. So you're not going to want to see him go from 0 to 100. That'll take a couple of weeks to ease back into it. And luckily they have 2 games where they don't really have to stress about the offenses that they're going against in the Arizona Cardinals and the New England Patriots. So you could kind of look at that as just a bridge. You're just slowly building it back in so that Minkah's ready for the end of the season. And then at the same time, you want Damontae off the field a little bit because he's been playing, I don't know exactly how many snaps he's taken, but I don't think I've seen him off the field in 4 weeks. And at some point, that's going to add up. He's a guy who's 28, 29 years old. So you do want to take him off the field a little bit. I think the best part of this is that Keanu Neal, good player. I thought he was reliable. I'd like Trenton Thompson better. I look at Trent Thompson and be like, oh, yeah, I think he provides a spark. I think he's got ball skills that Keanu does not have. You're obviously going to hit hiccups. And the fact that this guy doesn't have any film on him certainly helped the last 2 weeks, and his play will go down because of that. But I just think as a reliable, you weren't sending Keanu Neal deep and saying, hey, protect, be center field. You could do that with Trenton Thompson. And I think that will allow the Steelers to kind of utilize him as a replacement, just like you said. He's not going to be off the field completely, but it'll be a minimal role. But in that minimal role, I think he could still produce something. It may be getting cool outside, but it's red hot on the field. So there's no better time than now to announce that today we've partnered with DraftKings, an official partner of the NFL. And thanks to DraftKings, we're bringing you even closer to the action. Right now, new customers who bet $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. You heard that right, instantly. But that's not all. If you're already a DraftKings customer, you get a no-sweat same-game parlay. Get a bonus bet back if your same-game parlay/same-game parlay X doesn't hit. Max reward limits do apply. And if you're a multi-sport bettor, no worries. DraftKings allows you to combine multiple bets for a shot at an even bigger payout. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers who use our promo code ALLSteelers and bet $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code ALLSteelers only at DraftKings Sportsbook. When it comes to Montravius Adams, big question, obviously. Is Keanu Benton still the starter? Is this Keanu Benton's role now? And, do you fit it back in? Like, the way that Montravius Adams is still listed as the starter on the depth chart, but do you see this being the rookie's job now, even if he's back?
I don't. I think Montravius will still start. I think he'll still maybe take a majority of the snaps. I mean, Keanu's definitely played too well to keep him glued to the bench, so
yeah,
he's going to rotate in heavily. But I think we're kind of like, this is different from safety, obviously, and very different from another position. But this feels a little bit like the running back rotation, a little bit. Like you've got a little bit of an older veteran who's played well. You don't really necessarily have a reason to bench him other than the fact that this young guy is playing really well behind him. So I think you can use both of them. And I think it's the same thing as the Minka thing too, whereas Mon hasn't played in a while. He's going to have to ease his way back in, and that's going to create tons of opportunities for Keanu. And if Keanu can kind of keep up the same level of play, maybe we have this conversation again further down the road and we talk about it differently. But I think right now you still kind of stick with Mont as the starter and you give him a chance to lose the job, you give him a chance to, play worse than Keanu, I guess, for lack of a better term. And if Keanu's the better guy, then he'll absolutely rise to the top. That's just kind of natural. But for right now, I think you kind of got to give Mont the start and give him his fair share of reps before demoting him.
Yeah, I agree with the starter thing. I don't think that Keanu takes I think it's Montravius's job. Montravius earned that job. He was playing phenomenal before the ankle injury. There was no dip in his game. There's he was a very strong and solid part to the Steelers defensive line. I could see that split once fully healthy. There's going to be a buildup, like you said, and the same thing with Minka, but once fully healthy, I could see that split almost being 50-50 just because the Steelers have two studs at that position. That's their best depth-wise. That is definitely their best position on the defensive line. And I think you utilize both of those guys because Keanu's a stud. He's balling out. And you go back, whenever I come back and I watch these games after I go through or after we get back from the games or whatever, and I turn them back on, Keanu is he's making maybe minimal impact in terms of a stat line, but he is all over the field. His ball recognition is nuts. He can identify whether it's a pass or a screen or a run play so quickly. It's wild. And I think that is something that you just want to build on just because he's the future, obviously. But you have two stars. They're both young stars. You're going to try to utilize them both. I agree. I could see a 50-50 split. I could also see Keanu starting to move a little bit and play, behind Cam Hayward and behind Larry Ogunjobi and kind of fill other gaps in the defensive line just because Montravius is out there. You want your best guys out there. I could see it, but I do agree with you. I don't think Montravius goes to the bench. I think he comes back as a starter, and I think he's earned that starting job, even as much as Keanu's earned that starting job too, but you're not going to pull somebody just to pull them. Not at this point. Not at this point in the season, and not at this point in anybody's career. Keanu's not a second-year guy who needs to be in the starting lineup. He's a rookie who gets a ton of playing time, and he'll continue to get a ton of playing time, even without that starting label. I agree 100%.